I had a perfect like sideways view down the line for this, and the timing that's required to pull this off is insane. The timing, the coordination to dive at the exact right height, to dive at the exact right time, to time it to get your head at the right angle so you're not just heading it over the bar, you're not bouncing it the other way, whatnot. Everything about this was incredible.
This is KC Sports Network, proudly presented by Emprise Bank.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of No Other Pod. I'm Jimmy, along with my good buddy Daniel Kooser. And Dan, we got a Leagues Cup victory pod here.
God dang, man. Have you ever... I've just been using my head all day, man, and this team is using their head as well, buddy. I've never been so jazzed to see these header goals that we've got going on. I'm loving this.
We got a lot. Willy's found his form, and by way of his head, quite a bit. Castellanos getting in on it. We'll talk about it. And, the team played well. It was fun. It was Leagues Cup. Wasn't quite sure what to expect. I think the announced attendance was just over 14,000. So not a sellout, but...
It was sparse, right? It was not much going on, a lot of empty seats, but I still had a great time regardless, man. I had some sporting pay complimentary balances, and I was like, well, I think I only have one more game I can attend this year, so let's knock it out. Let's get these soggy vegan sausages going on.
Yeah, you had what, $30 so you could buy 2 bottles of water?
Oh, Jesus Christ. No, I mean, it was like $20, and I think 2 bags of chips, 2 sausages, and a Nutter Butter knocked that out real fast.
Nutter Butter.
Dude, you got to get the nut butt, dude. Have you ever had a Nutter Butter?
I'm going to say something that might be controversial.
You haven't had a Nutter Butter?
No, I have.
Oh.
I'm not a big peanut butter guy.
That's not so controversial.
I feel like it is. Every time I tell somebody I'm not a big peanut butter guy, they're like, what's wrong with you?
What? So, do you tell them to shut the hell up? Like, what's wrong with me? I have my preferences. I get it.
Nice. I mean, peanut butter's fine. It's not a flavor profile I ever go out of my way to choose. Like, I will.
You have to fall in line and be a peanut butter lover, right, like everyone else in the world.
Yeah, exactly.
Be an individual.
That's right. I'm just being me.
Yes.
Nutter butters are fine, but it's not something that I will choose.
It's a nice vegan snack, if I'm being honest. It's like, whoa, true. These are vegan? That's crazy.
I've heard Oreos are also vegan.
Yeah, which is wild because you're like, then what is this cream filling? Just chemicals?
Not eating.
Is it mind control? Government chemicals?
Probably. Yeah, it's the 5G Oreo.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I don't know. I put peanut butter on my waffles with butter and syrup, and that's delicious.
Sounds like you like peanut butter.
Other than that, I don't put peanut butter on any. I mean, I've recently discovered. I don't know if you've heard of it. Bear with me. There's a sandwich. You take a couple pieces of bread. You put a little peanut butter. You put a little jelly on it. You put it together. It's called a peanut butter and jelly. I had, but I've recently discovered the simplicity of a peanut butter and jelly in my adult years. So, I get a little hungry at night, and I don't want a full meal. I get a little piece of bread out, make myself a little half PB&J. It's pretty good.
You have de-aged, sir. You're in your 30s over here, but really you're about 13.
That's because I'm playing college football video games again, and so it really is like I'm reliving my teenage years.
It is taking you back a bit. I've been playing last year's Call of Duty on Game Pass.
Yeah.
The campaign that everyone says is so horrible.
Is that the one that has the Rey Mysterio and Rhea Ripley in it?
Yes, and also Cody Rhodes.
You can do a little Riptide, do a little Crossroads.
The dumbest thing in the world.
Yeah.
But it's that shit, man. It's exhilarating. I can't be jumping out of planes like this because I got to check my heart rate. I got to take breaks. It's a crazy time.
Jump out of planes in Call of Duty now?
Yeah, dude. I had I told you I've been playing the campaign.
Okay. I have.
So yeah, I did have to parachute in.
Probably at least 10 years, if not more.
Oh wow.
So it's been a minute. I'm saying college football brought me back to video games. I played Switch a little bit, but it was mostly like Super Mario 64 on my Switch. I beat that again. And then college football came out. And now I'm making promises to 17-year-old recruits that I have no intention of keeping. So.
Yes. I've never been a huge fan of college football games or even Madden. And I say what you want. If you want to get controversial here, I will circle back to peanut butter, you son of a bitch. So, it's just never been my thing. I don't know why.
That's okay. I do love a good college football game. I'm bringing Arkansas State up from the ashes to a program of respectability. So it's
Okay.
it's a good time. So
And I think it's great. I admire, I acknowledge people that do that play this game.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just not like,
Yeah.
it's never given me any kind of joy.
Oh.
I've tried, I played my created character, I'm quarterback, maxing out my stats, and then I'm like, well, now I'm just kind of bored.
See, I don't create a character. I do it like our producer Nick. He started a Ball State dynasty. That's what I do. You pick a 1-star program, you build them up, you challenge for the Sun Belt, then you win the Sun Belt, then you move to the SEC, you start getting 3-star recruits, 4-star recruits, you go down to the swamp in the college football playoff and you beat Florida on the road in an upset.
Do you lose though? Do you lose in the early? See, I don't like that. I don't like to lose.
You gotta play. I mean, first off, this new game is hard. It's very
That's nuts. I hate it.
And you got to play, like, if I'm Arkansas State, I can't go first year undefeated, make it to the college football playoff. That's not realistic. I got to build a program.
It would have been amazing though.
I got to get my program up off the ground. I'm a recruiter. I'm hitting the ground. I'm going around to all the little towns in the state of Arkansas. I'm getting my guys. And
dude, I'm over here playing these little indie platformers on Game Pass.
Yeah. I'm telling a kid, listen, I promise, you come right here, you're slotted in at right guard for next year. Meanwhile, I know I got a transfer coming in. This freshman's not going to start. But
why are you lying to people?
I'm going to get them there. What
Oh,
else are you supposed to do?
Is that what you do? Like, is that what good managers do? They lie to their recruits?
Have you watched college sports?
I mean, I don't know. I didn't know.
Dirty games. You get your hands dirty if you want to win.
Oh my gosh. This is why
It's- I mean-
they're opening my eyes.
Have you ever played Grand Theft Auto? You don't
Absolutely.
actually want to go steal a car and then run over an old person and then rob a bank with a baseball bat. But when you do it in the game, it's fun.
Honestly, I don't go around and do that. I do the missions. I'm just like, what's my next mission? And everyone else is running around playing murder ball, and that's not fun.
No, I just want to give me the 6 stars, get a tank chasing me with helicopters. That's what I want to do.
That's a little scary.
Yeah. But before we jump into this game, we did get a new review, and it's a good.
Hey,
So you want to go ahead and read the review that we got here?
listen, this was from Scrappy Apple, and it's a 5-star. And it says a little levity to an overall painful blank. Painful
Assume it says
season, I assume.
Yeah.
A great show that is informative and entertaining, which is the exact opposite of the team they cover in SKC. I'm a firm believer that SKC ownership should take Polito's pay and split it between the hosts as they do more to support the team. Appreciate all the takes and honesty in the show. Keep up the great work. Listen,
I'm all about it.
I mean, that's a great idea.
Let's get it off the ground. Let's write some letters.
We can workshop it. I mean, whatever we need to do. Dude, thank you to this person for leaving this review. It's a long time coming, Our producer Nick would probably not get a cut. It's all the talent.
We'll get him a cut. We'll get him in there. We'll go.
Being a dick. Just being a dick. Being myself.
45, 45, 10.
Now you're just throwing out formations that don't make sense. What do you...
Dan's the 10. Yep, that's right.
Dan's not the 10. I'm the most valuable podcaster you got.
That's MVP. That's
It
true.
is.
Doing 2 straight away.
I got a medal here somewhere.
That's right. Well, thank you for that 5-star rating and review. We appreciate it. And if you haven't left us a 5-star rating and review, go ahead and do so. If you feel like we should be paid the $3.6 million that Alan Polito gets paid, let your season ticket member rep know. And
Oh, boy.
can you imagine? There's this podcast. It's really good. I think they should get paid $3.6 million. But yeah, appreciate it. So make sure you do that on Apple Podcasts if you have not yet done so. So before we jump into the game, there was a little bit of news that I want to hit on, and then maybe we'll take our break after we talk about this news and then talk about the game. I don't think this news was surprising to people that have been even mildly paying attention to how things have been going at Sporting Kansas City for especially the last few months, but even the last, 2-3 years, honestly. Sporting Kansas City announced Friday morning that the club had transferred forward Marinos Janis to a Serbian Super League team that I am not going to pretend to even try to pronounce because FC Kukariki, maybe?
Okay, well, you did attempt. You did.
I attempted it.
Said you wouldn't, and you did.
And it's probably wrong. But, Janis, he arrived in early 2022. He was here from, 22, 23, a majority of 24. He made 64 appearances for Sporting Kansas City in that time across all competitions. So that's not a high amount or high percentage of games in that time. He was one of the U22 initiative signings for Sporting Kansas City, along with Robert Bolader and Logan Ndenbe. And he just never really was able to find his footing. There were flashes at times, but just didn't put it all together for Sporting Kansas City.
No, I'm guessing it's because he doesn't like to do media,
We did learn that. That is true. But defense was always an issue with him. Like, I think that's
he
one
didn't
thing.
do that.
Didn't like doing that, especially early on. He came in and then just hardly ever played, is because Peter expects his forwards to play defense. And
not playing defense is a lack of hustle. Mm-hmm. And what's been the word of the season? Mentality. This he's definitely lacking some mentality, so he had to get out of here.
Yeah, and so he hadn't been in the lineup for it's been a while since he was last in a team sheet, and Peter was asked about it at the beginning of last week, and he was like, we'll have some news on him later in the week. And that was confirming without confirming that he's gone.
Yeah.
And good for him. He gets, closer to home again. He's from Cyprus, so he's heading back to that part of the world. He's played for the Cyprus national team. He scored some bangers for the Cyprus national team. Occasionally he showed a real bit of creativity in the attack for Sporting Kansas City. Just like I said, never quite fit. So it's I wish him well. This opens up a spot, a U22 spot for Sporting Kansas City.
I got a little cash out of the deal, right?
I don't know if there was a fee associated with this. Did you see one reported? I did.
Doesn't that isn't that what happens when a transfer happens? What do you mean?
If there was one, it was probably negligible, honestly. His contract was up at the end of this year, and he wasn't playing. It's not like Sporting Kansas City had a lot of leverage. So
interesting. Okay, I did not see one reported. I guess I was just assuming that there was some kind of.
There probably technically is some kind of a fee that exchanged hands, but it's not going to be a lot.
Okay.
This was more to get him out of the club and put him in a situation that's better for him. So it's almost, I interpret it almost as like a mutual parting of ways, just without terminating the contract. So it is what it is. But hey, look at some of the guys who are starting to get more time and that overtook Marino Shanis on the depth chart. Steven Afrifa, Elenis Vargas. They put in a little bit more of the work and have a little bit more of that mentality that Peter Vermes is looking for than Johnny's ever showed. So, hey, good luck to him, and we'll see what happens in the future.
Good luck indeed. Yeah.
Peter said that they do expect Sporting to sign at least one player here in the near future before this window is up. So we'll see. Don't know if it'll be a forward. Don't know if it'll be a midfielder. Don't know if it'll be a central defender. We haven't really seen any substantiated rumors, and they could use help on all three lines. So we shall see. But I think they had previously said that they were working toward a TAM player. So it's not going to be, if that is the case, it does end up being a TAM player. That's a significant addition. That's not nobody. So we shall see. But let's go ahead and take our break here, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about Leagues Cup and the game against the Chicago Fire. So we'll be right back.
We appreciate you supporting KC Sports Network by listening to our podcast. You have helped us become the highest-ranked Chiefs podcast network in 2022 and 2023. And don't forget about our daily Substack newsletter, the best written analysis you can find on the Chiefs straight to your inbox every day. kcsn.substack.com.
I love a great deal as much as the next guy, but I'm not going to crawl through a bed of hot coals just to save a few bucks. Saving money should be easy, with no hoops and no BS. So when Mint Mobile said it was easy to get wireless for just $15 a month with a purchase of a 3-month plan, I called them on it, and it turns out it really is that easy to get wireless plans for $15 a month. So to get started, go to mintmobile.com/KCSNNOP. There you'll see that right now you can get 3-month plans for only $15 a month, including the unlimited plan. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. And if you're worried about keeping your own phone or losing your contacts, with Mint Mobile, you can bring your own phone number along with all of your existing contacts. So find out how easy it is to switch to Mint Mobile right now and get 3 months of premium wireless service for just $15 a month. To get this new customer offer and your new 3-month premium wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/KCSNNOP. That's mintmobile.com/KCSNNOP. Cut your wireless bill to just $15 a month at mintmobile.com/KCSNNOP. $45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details.
Oh, boy. It was the weekend of a big old Marvel movie, my friend.
Ooh, it was.
What a time that was.
It was, yeah. I'm not going to say any spoilers if you have not seen it. So, I'm going to tell you whether I liked it or not. So, for some of you, that might be a spoiler. So, skip ahead 30 seconds or so if it is. But I loved it. It was awesome.
Yeah.
So, from the moment it started until the end of it, I just had a fantastic time. I was laughing. I was having fun. It's everything I want a Deadpool movie to be.
Yeah.
And it was a great way to sort of close that Fox chapter of Marvel movies and transition into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So I had a great time.
What's your Doctor Doom take?
Imagine
being there? Can you imagine being there when he revealed?
Bro, it was even the video. I kind of got goosebumps.
I know. I was like,
I wasn't even sure how I felt. I wasn't even sure how I felt about the casting, but I was like, holy shit, the way they did that was incredible.
Yeah.
I did see a funny video where, for those of you who may not know, Robert Downey Jr., who's famous for playing Tony Stark and Iron Man, has been cast as Dr. Doom, Victor Von Doom, who's a big Fantastic Four villain, but also, if you look at the history of the comics, if I'm going to nerd out for a second, arguably is potentially the biggest baddie in Marvel Comics. He's worse than Thanos, more powerful than Thanos. So this is the guy. They had to replace Jonathan Majors, who was Kang because of domestic violence, and they've moved on from Kang. So now it's Avengers Doomsday that's coming instead of the Kang Dynasty.
I've seen some funny fucking shit of people posting his character from Tropic Thunder saying they could have just made him Kang.
I saw that too. And
oh boy.
But I'm open-minded. I mean, if you look, if you look at there's some people that hate this, and they're already like, this is stupid. They ruined it, and it's the same people who when the Acolyte was, 2 episodes in, they're like, this is the worst Star Wars show ever. They've ruined everything. And by the end of it, they're like, oh, I have seen a complete story arc. I get it. So there are comics where Victor Von Doom and Tony Stark switch consciousness into each other's bodies. There is a comic line when Dr. Doom becomes Iron Man. So this is not without precedent in the comics.
I know. This is weird. I mean, you're already talking about variants and all that stuff. I mean, we could very well be tapping into that. So we'll have to see in the next couple of years. Dude, this is we're all over the place too, man. We go soccer. I mean, we're not even mentioning that it's the week of SummerSlam, which is like summer WrestleMania, dude.
SummerSlam, Olympics are happening.
I'm having fun watching some Olympics, I'll tell you that. I didn't realize I was so passionate about volleyball.
I didn't know that I loved rugby.
Right.
I'm watching rugby, and suddenly I'm a rugby expert.
God dang. I was watching the USA women indoor volleyball against Japan today, and it was like a tight game till the very freaking end, dude. It was like 2-2, and it was the final match point, and they lost.
And rugby's
I was like mad.
The U.S. women's rugby team are in the semifinals against New Zealand. It's going to be a hell of a match.
Yep.
But that's
soccer's doing great.
Soccer, men and women, they're both doing real well. All the men have to do is beat New Zealand, they beat New Zealand. All they have to do is beat Guinea, and they move on for the first time since 2000. So
they can beat Guinea, but
they should.
Who knows?
Yeah, they should beat Guinea. If they don't, something's wrong.
Yeah.
They should have beat Trinidad and Tobago in, 2017 leading into 2018, and they didn't. So,
right. I'm seeing Simone Biles stuff all over the place, man, doing her balance beam thing.
Sailing, boats are flipping over, people are falling out. That's wild. Archery's crazy, surfing's crazy. Surfing's in Tahiti. That's wild.
Interesting.
They can't go swimming in Paris because the river is still too full of shit. So that's fun. And I just love it. Snoop Dogg's there because why not? Why wouldn't
Why
Snoop Dogg
not?
be there? If you we will talk soccer in a second, but I was talking about this at work today with people. If I sent you on a plane to Paris tomorrow, and I was like, you have to pick one sport, just like you right now, no training and everything, you have to pick one Olympic sport that you think you could do like the best in. Like, you're not going to medal, obviously, or whatnot, but you just have to, like, of all of the sports available, like, which one do you think you will least embarrass yourself in? Which one do you think you would choose?
Honestly, dude, I think field hockey would be a lot of fun. I think I'd be a decent hockey player, but the skating turns me off of it. I could run and play hockey. I don't know, but I was watching women's field hockey and they were balling out, but it looked like a blast.
I had somebody at work say they like badminton. I was like, have you watched badminton? Like, there's no way in hell that I'm able to play that. They're wild.
Where do you even play like a lot of these sports competitively? That's what I want to know. Where do you sign up to go? Like Ohio?
Probably. I think, you know what I think I would do, which is weird because I've never really done this in my life.
I like handball too. Handball sounds dope.
So handball's one I think I could do. Okay. The other one I thought of, I think shooting. Like, because
look out.
I've shot
American Jimmy on the rise over here.
But all the other sports, I'm like, I got to react to what other people are doing, and I have to be somewhat athletic. Shooting, it's like, okay, I got to control my breath, and I hit the target, and I feel like I'm not going to pick rugby. I'm not going to pick soccer. I'm not going to pick swimming, and like all that stuff, like gymnastics, I'm going to break my neck if I try to do one tumbling pass on the floor. So I feel like, table tennis is wild. You look at them, I'm like, I can't even see the ball. Fencing, I don't know what the hell's happening because they just go at each other and suddenly someone wins and I don't know how.
They get after it, dude. It's crazy.
So I think shooting might be the pick that I would have to choose.
I've been going like the Olympic website the night before, and I've been seeing what the next day's events are. And I've been adding the USA events to my calendar.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty cool you can do that. But there are events that take place at like 4 a.m. our time. I was like, I'm not getting up to watch archery at 4 a.m. I'm sorry.
The men's gymnastics team got a team medal for the first time since 2008 because this dude with glasses whose only job was to do the pommel horse was just like sleeping through the whole competition and like, hey buddy, pommel horse. He's like, oh, okay, hold on. Let me just go get us a medal real quick. Did his thing and it was nuts.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
People don't really care about Olympics. A lot of people have a lot of opinions that it was, they got opinions, right? We don't need to get into Greek mythology, by the way, where Olympics were born.
Right.
Certainly not caring about your religion. It's about Greek mythology. So
if you're worried about some of the things that happened in the Olympics, go back and learn more about ancient Greco-Roman wrestling and how that went down.
Listen, I was just in a show called The Gods of Comedy, and I'm very much aware of like Greek mythology. I played a professor of Greek mythology. It's so fun.
To quote producer Nick, naked dudes oiled up.
They are, man. Did you ever see the Ladies Man, the movie, The Ladies Man?
Mm-hmm.
Will Ferrell's character in that, he kept wanting to Greco-Roman wrestle the main character, and he kept getting oiled up and stuff. It was so awkward.
Yeah, that's hilarious. So I love the Olympics. I get into it. I'm excited. So the one, I think the sport I would die at probably quickest is diving off of like the high dive.
That's insane. I don't even want to jump off a high dive.
I wouldn't get up to the platform. I'd get less than halfway up the ladder and I'd be like, nope, I'm out.
God damn. Olympics are fun. How many weeks are they going? Like just 2 weeks?
It's like 2.5 or something like that. Yeah.
Something else that's exciting? Leagues Cup, dude. These games are hot and heavy.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're coming fast, man. And like all the teams play their first game and then like a third of the teams don't play. So those other 2 teams in the group can play.
Yep.
And if there's anything that's in our favor when we play Toluca next Monday, it's the fact that they got to play Chicago this Thursday.
Yep.
So we'll get them on maybe, 4 days rest there where we will have had 8 days.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because Toluca's a really good freaking team, but we got the job done against Chicago last night, man. And those jerseys look better in person. Unbelievable. I had mine on. I was feeling real confident.
I was talking to Chad Smith from KC Soccer Journal last night, and I was like, they gotta keep these jerseys around for more than just the rest of this year. I don't know if the league will let them, but these jerseys deserve more than half a season of time, because they are some of the best things that have been put out for Sporting Kansas City / KC Wizards in years.
They're slick, dude. And the marketing they've been doing, they've been saying it's Wizards versus Chicago Fire tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, whoa, no shit. Like that. We're not even saying Sporting KC anymore. We have changed our entire branding when we wear these jerseys. And I'm okay with that, because if we start winning with these jerseys, I don't want to wear anything else.
Yeah. Apparently, I don't know why they didn't debut them at home against St. Louis City. I know it was a league mandate that they debuted those Wednesdays. So that's why they were in Vancouver. I don't know why they just didn't wear them again at home against St. Louis. Someone told me, and I haven't fact-checked this, that there may be a rule that the league doesn't let teams wear third jerseys 2 games in a row. But for a jersey like this, when you know it's halfway through the season, like, and you want to sell as many as you can, and it's your rival, like, that felt like that was the perfect time. But
True.
then again,
A lot of people
Chicago has
had it
another original team, so it's kind of fun to have, Wizards versus Chicago, and the Wiz on the Fire chant going and everything. So
Yeah, you knew that was coming.
yeah,
A lot of times, if you see someone out in the wild, wearing a soccer jersey, and you're wearing a soccer jersey, you kind of give a what up? Like, you get me, I get you. I recognize your favorite sport. We get it. But if you went to this game and was wearing this jersey, you were like, "What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up?"
yeah, it's gorgeous. I mean, I bought it. I've worn it on this podcast. It looks incredible. It looks even better on the players, and it's just a really, really well done jersey that, shout out to everybody who worked on it, because it's incredible. And yeah, Chicago came to town, and there's obviously the MLS break right now for leagues cut. And so Sporting Kansas City needed to basically get a win against Chicago if they wanted to have a shot at moving on. And we didn't really know what sort of lineup we were going to see, because there's some injuries. There was questions about would Logan and Denbei actually be back, and he was available on the bench, although he didn't get into the game. Alan Pulido had a little bit of an illness of some sort, so he wasn't available. Johnny Russell wasn't available. Peter went back to that 4-2-3-1 that he's kind of been favoring, for a number of the last few weeks. Willy Agada up top in front of Shallowy, Eric Tommy, and Stephen Afrifa, and then the 2 double pivot midfielders, Remy Voltaire and Nemanja Radia, with Leibold, Fontes, Castellanos, and Shelton in front of Tim Melia. So, not necessarily the first choice 11, but these are all guys who've gotten plenty of playing time, and felt confident that this team could go out against a not great Chicago Fire team and get a result. I wasn't really intimidated by the Fire. I don't know about you.
No, not really. I mean, I was like, okay, this should be another thing where we get something out of this match. Like, this is a not so good team, and we're a not so good team. So let's get the job done.
Yeah.
And there were moments where I was like, oh no, we're not going to get the job done. This is bad. There were moments where the ref was bad too, but that's just a given,
Yeah, I mean, but you're right. I mean, Daniel Shallowy is getting literally pulled from behind in the attacking third, and not even no card, no foul. They delayed a restart twice.
No card.
They body checked Alenis Vargas into the advertising boards down in the south stand end, and that wasn't called a foul.
It's like, okay, if that's how we're going to play, then we need to body some people up, dude. Because, I mean, then he looks like a real schmuck if he calls it on us and didn't call it on them. And it's like, dude, you're blowing it. You're going to lose your assignment for your next game.
Willy Agada fouled Nemanja Radia in our own area in the attack.
They murdered each other. They just went down. I was like, what happened? We can't afford this, man.
I think Willy's studs might have gotten Radia on the line.
I think so. We got scored on by a guy who tucks his jersey in. Embarrassing. It's so embarrassing.
Now, to be fair, I think Ricky Puig also tucks his jersey in, and he's probably the best player not named Lionel Messi in the league.
We're not talking about Ricky Puig. We're talking about Chicago Fire right now. This pissant of a team, and we got scored on by a jersey tucker.
Jersey tucker. I will say, I did think Sporting Kansas City, outside of that goal, I mean, even before then, Sporting seemed the better team. They were getting chances. They were controlling the game.
Hitting the crossbar.
Freefa off the crossbar. Willy Agada off the crossbar. I mean, it was chances coming, and then it was
Shallowy from distance.
And it was really sort of against the run of play in the 22nd minute where I don't know really what happens with Willy, but he just sort of mishits a ball, and then Kootsias just gets a well played ball into him in the box, and Kyrie's probably a little late to the draw trying to step up to him, and he just fires it past Tim Melia, and he made it 1-0 Chicago in the 22nd minute. There were like 4 Chicago Fire fans that were there that were cheering. And
he caught it on the bounce too. Like right when it bounced, he kicked it, and that gives it like amazing velocity. Like Tim went the right way for it, but he had no chance in my opinion.
It was a laser. I mean, you can look at the replay, and it's not necessarily the best placed ball, but it was such a powerful shot from such a close distance that Tim just doesn't have the time to react.
Something happened to Tim this game too. He wasn't feeling good, right? That something was up, and
yeah, he felt a little something in his leg, which is why Voloder started taking the goal kicks toward the end of the game and the free kicks. Which this is not the first time that Tim has had a center back take some kicks for him from back there this season.
I'm okay with that.
It's fine. I mean, he's had some issues with hip flexors or whatnot over the past few years where he's missed some time. So I would much rather him not injure himself on a goal kick. The only downside to that is a bunch of weird things have to happen for this to be the case. But if, let's say, a defender for the other team gets the ball and sends it back toward Sporting KC's goal real quick, it does make it more likely that a player would be onside because Voloder or whoever's taking the goal kick is technically the one that would be keeping him on. So they'd have to run back into position a lot quicker. But that hasn't happened. It's worth the risk to not get Melia injured. I don't know, when we went down 1-0 in the 22nd minute, I'm going to be honest, I don't think I was actually weirdly that scared. I felt confident that we were going to at least pull level at some point in the moment.
Pretty early. It's pretty early.
It was early. It was against the run of play. They hadn't really created anything else, and Sporting had looked decent. So
nice to have Remy back, isn't it?
Oh my God, Remy, incredible. He with Radia in this double pivot, it really does change the midfield having players, especially Remy. I like Radia. He's a good defensive midfielder. My biggest complaint about Radia, especially on the ball, is he doesn't tend to look up for the pass. He plays a lot of side to side and he plays back. He doesn't tend to look up for the runner. And Remy, I feel like, is better about when he gets the ball, he always looks up to see, is there a guy I can send over the top? Is there a through ball I can play? That's much more his instinct than Radia. So I think they complement each other well. And then Tommy's up there doing God knows what all over the field. But in the 39th minute, no Memo in there, no Johnny Russell in there to take free kicks, fell to Remy Voltaire to take a free kick from a dangerous spot deep inside the box. Not quite a corner kick, almost a corner kick. And he sends a lovely ball across to the back post. And, our biggest aerial threat is Danny Rosero, who has not been in games. And Robert Castellanos decided, hey, if Danny's not going to be that guy, I'm going to step up. I'm going to be that guy. And he just gets on the end of a perfectly placed ball from Remy Voltaire. And he finishes it in top left corner with a perfect finish. It's absolutely gorgeous.
It's insane. I mean, he's marked. He's absolutely marked, and this guy is backing into him. He's putting his full body on him. Mm-hmm. And Castellanos is just the stronger person here. So while he kind of lets the guy fall into him and fall down, he makes this look 100% easy, dude. And from where I was way back, on the other side of the field, I thought it was Kyrie Shelton. I was like, oh, no shit. You know who else thought it was Kyrie Shelton? Maybe Katie on the broadcast. But, they have similar facial hair, body color and everything. But I loved it. Robert Castellanos, man, he's been showing up big time to play.
He's been good. I like Castellanos. And there were some rumors a few weeks ago linking him to some teams in Mexico or whatnot. But he's a player that he's got a lot of upside. And he's developing pretty well. He's athletic. Peter mentioned that both him and Voloder, in the absence of Rosero, have been pretty good in terms of attacking set pieces. So that's never been Fontes' strong suit. You don't typically see Fontes getting up and getting on the ends of headers like that. But Castellanos made it look like, he's been doing it his whole life. So that was great to see him draw level And it went into halftime 1-1. And I was feeling pretty decent that if Sporting Kansas City came out the other end and played anything like they did for the vast majority of the first half, then very good probability that they would get a results in regulation and not send us to penalties, because it was going to go straight to penalties if it ended in a draw. So Afrifa had some moments in the second half. I mean, man, there was one, I was screaming at him to pass to Tommy on the other side of the box. He didn't listen to me. He drove into the box, had this gorgeous little cutback. And then if he sends us low to the bottom left corner, it's a goal. He tries to lift it. It bounces off the crossbar. Man.
If it's just a tad lower, it's going in the goal. Like he beat the keeper. It was insane, man.
Stephen Afrifa had a very, very good game. I didn't catch this because I was in the press conference, but you informed me that Leagues Cup gave him man of the match, which good for him. And part of that was because in the 76th minute, Stephen Afrifa gets the ball on the right side of the box, and he and Willy have developed a pretty decent little partnership. And Afrifa sends a delicious cross in, and Willy Agada puts his cape on after he jumps out of the telephone booth and decides he's somebody called Superman, and dives head first and just smashes this ball into the back of the net to put Sporting ahead.
Listen, it's no secret, I'm in a musical, so I cannot scream right now. I wanted to scream, but I did this. my hands just went over my mouth, and I didn't know what to do. I just couldn't believe it, because I was right in front of us, dude, where our seats are, and it was I didn't know how to feel in that moment. I was like, a diving header is something you don't see every day. And Afrifa wasted no time. Took a single touch, bloop, sent the cross. Didn't dribble, just touch, boom. And Agada just lays out with reckless abandon. It's like diving head first into second base or something, man. Just not a care in the world. You're going to bust your face, but who gives a shit? You're going to score. It
was a really well done cross, and I had a perfect sideways view down the line for this, and the timing that's required to pull this off is insane. The timing, the coordination to dive at the exact right height, to dive at the exact right time, to time it to get your head at the right angle so you're not just heading it over the bar, you're not bouncing it the other way, whatnot. Everything about this was incredible. So much so to the fact that I'm sitting in the press box. This happens. I literally threw my hands on my head and I said, "Holy shit," out loud. And Chad Smith made fun of me for it. He was like, "Did you say holy shit?" And I was like, "I did. Did you see what just happened?" And it was one of the...
Is there no cursing in the press box? Were you in trouble?
No, they don't care. Whatever. That's fine. It's Leagues Cup. Anything goes. There have been some times when journalists come from other countries in press boxes where I'm like, they're openly cheering for these teams wearing jerseys like this. It's different. That wasn't happening in this game, but CONMEBOL and CONCACAF teams, sometimes I'm like, what do we do? Come on now.
I'm fine with that. I wish it wasn't an unwritten rule that you can't. You know what I mean? You're not allowed to be excited.
Got to be professional in the press box.
What the hell does that mean? Be professional. You can't have a good time?
You can't. I mean, you're supposed to be there. You're a neutral party covering the game, so you're not supposed to be openly cheering because you're not there to be a fan. You're there to.
Who's a neutral party? Kansas City media is not neutral.
I mean, nobody's truly neutral when they're covering the team. I get it, but you're not supposed to be openly cheering for the team as a fan. That's why I don't wear sporting gear when I'm in the press box.
Sure, but tell me this. I mean, who does that hurt?
I mean, they'll kick you out.
I know, but why? Who does that hurt? What are the repercussions there?
You lose your credential. It's against the rules.
Some weird rule is what I'm saying. Like, why the rule?
Professional. It's got to be professional.
Professional? Do you hear this right now? Oh my God! You're like
a society.
This is like a dry toast of a press box. That's what it is. You all are dry toast.
That's what a press box is in all sports.
You just said though. Sometimes it's not.
Well,
and it's like, why can't it just be like that always? That's like when people are offended by the F word. Why don't we all just start saying fuck and it's fucking fine? You know what I mean?
In American sports, they don't let you cheer in the press box. Other countries, it might be a little. I mean, I think in England you don't really cheer either. But
you're right. This is America.
We live in a society.
Unbelievable.
But
dry toast society.
But that's not to say there aren't oohs and ahs in the press box when a play like this happens. Like people talk.
Get them out. Get them out. Credential revoked. You don't ooh or all.
So it was fun to watch this. And, we talked about this a little bit before we went on air, like, okay, who should be the toast of the match? I don't know. I think for me, and you can disagree if you want to, I don't know, maybe you want to agree. I think I'm going to give it to Willy Agada. I'm going to give my Holiday Distillery toast of the match. I got my Ben Holiday straight Missouri bourbon whiskey here. I'm going to give it to Willy Agada just because he has come on in recent weeks in just impeccable form. He's scoring goals, but it's not just his goal scoring. I mean, he's really found some quality in his hold-up play. Him in the box, getting possession, laying it off to Vargas, to a free foot to Tommy. Sometimes the other guys don't quite get on the end of it because they're still building that chemistry, but Willy Agada is doing things that Alan Plato just is simply not doing at this point in his career. So.
Sure, but that header of a goal, it doesn't happen without a Afrifa-sweet cross. So my toast of the match goes to Stephen Afrifa.
There you go. Hey,
they're
both well deserved.
He was great, man. He played, how long did he play? That was in the 76th minute. He came out at the 84th when Vargas came on. So dude put together a hell of a match. He was very dangerous at times. I mean, he was hitting the bar just like Willie was. So as far as I'm concerned, man, put him up there like a good buddy cop movie.
Well, and Peter said, I asked him about Stephen Afrifa and his development throughout this year and how he sort of found his form in recent history. And Peter, he said, Stephen, he was one of the best players in preseason. We started the season, and maybe I put a little too much pressure on him by saying he was probably one of the best players in the preseason. Or maybe it was just a lot for him when he got into some games, but I don't think he started off very well. So we had a long talk a few weeks in, and I said, hey, we're going to start from ground zero, and we'll just build back up. But you've got to believe that you showed a lot in preseason, and you have it. You've just got to build toward it. And, he goes on to say part of it was physical, feeling ready to go. And he goes, when he almost scored that goal in the second half, the way he opened up and how slippery he is in the box, he creates so much space for himself. He's one of those players that has a real quality to do that. And eventually, when he gets in a place where he actually will score a goal or two and he's playing regular minutes, he could be a guy that all of a sudden bangs in like 10 goals. I believe that. He just needs to keep pushing and keep working toward that toward that form and understanding what his strengths are in the game and getting a routine around it. So very high praise from Peter Vermes for the young player.
Oh, yeah.
So I think we'll see him around for quite a while. And I wouldn't be surprised if toward the end of this year, as Peter's looking and seeing what we have for future years with some roster overhaul coming, if we see Afrifa and Vargas get some more minutes to see, are they ready to take that leap? So we'll see. Peter, he was also because, he played for the Kansas City Wizards before he coached here. He won an MLS Cup here with the Kansas City Wizards. He was asked what it meant to him to wear Kansas City Wizards on his shirt in this stadium, to be back in Kansas City under the Wizards name. I thought he had an interesting answer, so I'll read it here for you real quick and just get your thoughts. He goes, I'm a history guy. I am. This is what I played for when I was here. I might get crushed for this, but it's okay. I can handle it. I get crushed for a lot of things. Our Sporting Kansas City logo is, at the end of the day, it's like it's tattooed on my heart. It's what this club is and who this club is. But there's been a history and there's been some success, and I'm here originally because of the Wizards. I stuck around and eventually got connected here with the new ownership that bought the team. This is a look back, but it's also a show of respect to what this club was. At the same time, who we are today is a different level than where it was. And there's a lot of things that have been achieved with Sporting. It's good, and I respect that piece of it, but at the end of the day, we're Sporting Kansas City. So I think he was worried that he was going to get crushed, because I think he was basically saying, like, yeah, it's all well and good, but I like that we're Sporting KC and not the Wizards.
Sure. Yeah.
But
he also, why does he start sentences like he's a Cockney kid? I'm a history guy, I am. That isn't a good Cockney accent. Let's move past it. Just sounds like a kid on the street. Yeah, it's definitely Dick Van Dyke, But no, I get what he's saying. He's like, whoa, don't assume we're the Wizards now. We're not.
Right.
We are very much Sporting KC. This is just a fun thing we're doing to make more money. Like, we're branding this, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, this is more money. This is not us changing our name completely.
And when he was here on the Wizards, he wasn't playing really in the rainbow jerseys as much as he was playing in some of the more like blue, yellow kind of jerseys as started to transition a little bit. So,
Right.
But I still think, a lot of people, occasionally I hear, we shouldn't have ever changed to Sporting Kansas City. Kansas City Wizards is such a unique name. There's a lot of revisionist history there because at the time, the Wizards was not a well-respected brand.
No, it wasn't.
It was looked at as childish and silly. They were not selling out Arrowhead. I think in a lot of ways, the Wizards had to die so Sporting Kansas City could live, so the Wizards could come back and sort of be like, it's like almost what happened with the Star Wars prequels. Like people don't like it at the time, then some time passes, and the kids who liked it when they were younger grow up to be adults, and they're like, those were kind of cool. And I feel like
look at shoes, bro. Look at shoes. You know how many shoes I have that were hype in like 1985? I mean, I got those shoes that you and I just bought, which by the way are now our podcasting shoes. I've deemed it. It's no other pod uniform for us to wear these shoes. But those are older, right?
Yeah.
The Field Generals?
Yeah. It's from the 80s originally. So,
is it from the 80s? Okay.
Yeah. Retro's back. And,
Are you familiar with that store up in LA, Union?
I've heard of it. I'm not big.
I'm a huge fan. I've been trying to get a pair of their shoes for years, and I've never won a lottery of any kind.
They're awesome. I love those shoes. Well,
they are.
I'll put up a tweet of what we got matching shoes. We're pretty cool.
We are. Chris needs to get on the train because he's getting left in the station.
I love those shoes. They're incredible. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's really cool that they can pay respect to the Wizards' history now, but it would not be embraced the way it is. It would not have happened if the Sporting Kansas City rebrand had not happened, if Children's Mercy Park was not built. I firmly believe that people love the Wizards brand and have that nostalgia because of how successful Sporting Kansas City is as a brand. And it made Wizards cool again. But there needed to be some time and some distance for that to happen. So
Yeah.
It is.
I don't appreciate the trap of a question to try to get him to say something, you know what I mean? And he clearly kind of got on the defensive a little bit about it,
Yeah, I don't think it was meant as a trap of a question so much as like, oh, this is kind of cool, right? And I think that's why he was.
And he was like, no, it's not cool.
He was like, it is, but man, I mean, and I get it. I mean, he played for a few years under the Wizards name, but like when he took over as coach, I mean, he has been here for a lot longer as coach of Sporting Kansas City than he has been as a player for the Wizards. And he's won an MLS for sure. He's won numerous Open Cups. So I believe that when he says Sporting Kansas City is tattooed on my heart, I wouldn't be surprised one day if Peter Vermes like took his shirt off and literally had like the SKC crest tattooed like over his heart. Like
that'd be amazing.
Regardless of what people think about, him as a coach now, like he's a club legend. So I do believe he truly cares about this club quite a bit. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, like you said, there's no other game for Sporting Kansas City the rest of this week. It's next Monday against Toluca. Toluca, I technically think is the home team, even though it's in Kansas City. They're listed as the home side. Not that really matters all that much. Toluca fans showed out last time they played in Kansas City. So it's not going to be, I mean, Sporting have also gone down to Mexico and got Toluca's own fans to start cheering Ole against them when we played in Mexico, but that was a long time ago. This is not necessarily going to be the same type of match. It's not an easy match, but I think Sporting Kansas City can do it. It's just a matter of which Sporting Kansas City team shows up. I mean, Toluca through 4 matches in the Apertura for the 24-25 season. They have 8 points through 4 matches, a +4 goal differential, 2 wins, 2 draws, 0 losses. So far, they're a good team. So
they are a good team.
Tough matchup. But SKC could do it. It's just hard to know.
They could do anything, man. And I can't go without saying that Logan Ndembe was on the bench this past game.
He was on the bench, yeah. And Peter said that he probably could. Like Logan says he's ready. And Peter's like, I'm probably protecting him a little bit, but he thinks he'll make an appearance next week. So
wouldn't that be something?
He said that Logan
a bit of a problem.
Logan will probably make an appearance, and Tim should be good to go next week too.
Nice.
So I don't know, man. I mean, Leagues Cup, there's all sorts of weirds. I mean, a lot of MLS teams beat some Liga MX teams. Austin beat Pumas. LAFC beat Tijuana. Of course, the Dynamo lost to Atlas, but Miami beat Puebla. San Jose beat Chivas on penalties. New York City beat Querétaro on penalties. Portland beat León. So the Houston Dynamo were the only MLS team that lost to a Liga MX team. So MLS showing out a little bit after getting embarrassed in the All-Star game.
That's kind of awesome.
Yeah. So it's can't count on Houston to do anything. Just a truly terrible club. But other than that, it was pretty cool. New England even, they beat Mazatlan. So it's good for MLS. And like you said, this starting Tuesday night and then Wednesday and Thursday are more games. So Sporting has that advantage with short rest for Toluca. So we'll see. Should be fun.
Yeah. It's not like they're traveling a lot. They are staying away from home, obviously, but they are coming from Chicago to KC. It's not like that's around the country, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. So it is what it is. Outside of scheduling in terms of MLS news, the only other things, I've heard that, let's see, you're probably listening to this on a Tuesday because we're recording this Monday night. Heard that today, Tuesday. This is the day that the LA Galaxy are rumored to announce Marco Reus officially as the newest member of the LA Galaxy. So that's an older player, but a world-class player that the Galaxy are announcing, probably on a TAM deal because of MLS shenanigans. And just on the other side of town, there's rumors that LAFC are, as close as you can get to finalizing a deal with Antoine Griezmann. So,
whoa, wouldn't that break your little heart?
There's been connections between Griezmann and Kansas City ever since he, became a big Chiefs fan and Patrick Mahomes fan. And there was hope that maybe kind of, sort of Griezmann could sign here. But it appears he is destined for the Los Angeles Football Club, unfortunately.
Isn't it great to see all of your peers like making moves and being happy? And then there's us that aren't really doing anything.
We're trying, but not kind of.
Tough feeling, dude. It's like everyone was invited to the party, but you're outside looking through that window like, man, I hope they're having fun because I'm outside and it's fucking storming out.
Yeah. and it makes me wonder still, like, that moment in time that still feels like it wasn't real when it was like Cristiano Ronaldo almost came to Sporting Kansas City. I'm still not sure how much I'd buy that that's actually as real of a thing as has been reported. I mean, we do know that Sporting never spoke to Cristiano Ronaldo himself. They spoke to his people, quote unquote, and they were They were the ones who told SKC, no, if he was coming to MLS, you would have been where he came. And I just have to believe that it was all. It's like we got catfished almost. Like, the pretty girl found the guy who like is probably not quite on her level, but close enough where it's like, you know what? Maybe I do have a shot, and strings him along, but is really just using him to make somebody else, a little bit more jealous, get asked out by the guy that she wants, or vice versa, could be girl, whoever. But you get what I'm trying to say. Like, I just don't think that there was ever actually a real chance, and it was just a way to use negotiating leverage to get more money from Saudi Arabia, where he's been so successful and happy.
How many other teams were they saying that to? Like, yeah, you're definitely where he would have went. It's like, okay, I bet you say that to all the boys.
Right. So, I don't know. But good luck to Griezmann, I guess. Just not too much. It's about goes to LAFC. But
it's about.
But yeah, man, that's most of what we got. Like we said, U.S. Men's Olympic team, they beat Guinea. They're through. U.S. women, they're crushing it. So more Olympic soccer to watch, and we'll see what happens next week.
Yes, sir.
You got anything else for our good listeners before we sign off?
Yeah, dude, you can find me and my tall hair at Topeka Civic Theater's Tootsie the Musical for the next 2 weeks.
I'll be there Friday night. Come say hi.
Dang, what a time.
Yeah. You want to come
all the way from Lee's Summit. What a friend.
That's right. So if you haven't seen it yet, you wanna come hang out on Friday night in Topeka.
There you go.
Got Tootsie. So
there you go.
Well, thank you all so much for listening. Thank you for leaving the 5-star rating and review. If you have not yet done so, please go ahead and do so. Make sure you follow us on Twitter and Instagram at NoOtherPod, at Dan Kooser, at JCMac03. Send us an email, nootherpod@gmail.com. Check us out on YouTube, KCSN Soccer, or via the Kansas City Sports Network app. But until next time, he's Dan. I'm Jimmy. Catch y'all later. See ya.
Jimmy and I are recruiting for a handball team.